Good evening YouTube, how's it going out there? I am making this video to answer a question somebody emailed me who's been following me and my struggles to get this Tesla going. Now that I've got it done, people are obviously asking for advice on how to get it done. And I'm not that keen on answering individual emails to individual people. Quickly adds up the amount of time taken. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the information out on YouTube so that everyone can benefit from it, because I've learned loads from YouTube. Thank you to people like Rich Rebuilds and to CGP Grey, man. He gives out really good lessons, and you're a crazy man, AVE. Anyhow, a minute of waffle, time to get on with things. So, question, email posed, got a computer screen over here, going to read from it. Hi, I've been following your Tesla story online. I hope you don't mind me contacting you this way. Don't mind you contacting me this way as long as you don't mind that way, as long as you don't mind me replying this way. I'm over in Aussie and I've got a salvage title Tesla, a Model X in this case. It would be fairly easy to fix it up. It needs some bolt-on replacement, simple stuff. The initial plan was to strip it down and use the batteries and motors, but it seems like such a shame. I've driven it around on private property. Private, yeah. And it's fantastic. So I'm tempted to fix it up and ship it to NZ, where it's easier to get these cars certified on the road. I'd be fine with fast charging, and I'm looking at roughly 15,000 Aussie spent before certification at Tesla, shipping, registration process in NZ. Considering what you've gone through, would you do it again? Would it be better to get it certified by Tesla in NZ instead of AU? Would you be so kind to briefly surmise the steps and costs for transport certification registration? I'm trying to figure out if it'd be worth it or if I should stick to my original strip down plan. So, good questions. My first question is, when you say it's salvage title, Australia has some weird rules. Some states you can get a repairable write-off, other states it's a stat write-off. Doesn't matter if it's unsafe or not unsafe, I should say, more importantly. Doesn't matter if it's perfectly repairable. If the original owner or the original owner's insurance company chooses not to repair it, it becomes a stat write-off, and you just cannot put that thing back on the road. So there's cars, vans get written off for hail damage. You know, the roof gets dented with hail, doesn't do anything structural. The car gets written off, it's then forever gone. That's terrible. So yeah, if it's a repairable write-off, get it done in Australia. You know, don't mess around. Keep it where it is, and yeah, you've got big distances out there, so use it out there. If it's a stat write-off, then you've got to start using common sense and good engineering practice. New Zealand isn't some dumping ground on the far-flung corners of the earth. We do have very specific standards, but they are good standards in that if you can prove that you've repaired it correctly and you've repaired it safely, you can have it registered on the road. It's not just some dumb computer says no, some guy was having a bad day with a clipboard and wrote your car off and that's the end of it. If it's been repaired properly, and properly is the important thing, you have to prove that the car, what the damage was, that you followed the manufacturer's procedures for repairing it, and that now it is good. So yeah, that is not easy. It's totally possible. There's a structure. You go through the process, and you can do it. As opposed to the ludicrous situation in a lot of countries, including Australia, where it can get written off and that's the end of it. So yeah, I would totally say repair it if you have it properly inspected. Get it repaired with an engineer. Get it inspected with an engineer first. Know what you're getting yourself in for by getting a decent quote. yeah, I would totally do that, because as soon as you start braking the car, entropy kicks in. And what you have there is a beautiful, amazing Tesla. They've put so much time into designing it, making every last bit work so well. It's a work of art. One of my other videos, I was driving a BMW i8. It's an amazing car, but it isn't actually as good as a Tesla in many ways. Anyhow, I'm rambling. Yes, look after, you know, if we have a chance of being good to the world, we don't throw we don't throw things away. We don't make Teslas into junk, or even downgrade them by using half of the parts again and throwing the other half out. So absolutely repair it. And if it is just bolt-on stuff, go right ahead. If it's things like suspension that's bolt-on, that is bolt-on, but be sure you check the suspension mounting points. This is just an example, you know. Crack test it, check their alignment, check they're straight, all of that thing. But yeah, do it. Totally do it. What was my next thought on this? Okay, my next thought, certification. Absolutely don't bother with Tesla certification. All that does is they check to make sure that it is electrically safe, so that you can then take it to Tesla workshops and pay them money to do work on it. You don't get anything else for your service for that fee. The car is full of high voltage interlock checking, as they call it. So if there's a ground fault anywhere, it stops the car. You don't need Tesla to pay. You don't need to pay Tesla a ton of cash to find that out. Also, it's pretty easy. Where was there damage? Is there anything bad with any of the cables in that area? You know, it's not rocket science. SpaceX is rocket science. Tesla is not. So yeah, do not bother with certification, whether it's Australia or New Zealand. Get it repaired to manufacturer specs, document it, have an engineer document it in Aussie. Then when it comes to New Zealand, you will have to get it through compliance, and part of compliance is getting it then checked by a crash certifier in New Zealand, and they will want to see the repair logs, the paperwork, the engineer's report in Aussie. So do it properly and you're laughing. Yeah. Regarding Tesla, don't touch them. They will not give you anything more than you already have. If they have disabled CHadeMO charging, they've actually hacked your car. That setting is in the car, not in a charger or anything. And unless you told them that they could do it, they've broken the law. Now, taking them to court over that, I've just taken Tesla to court and lost for another thing, is a slow and boring process. What you can do is pay somebody to hack your car, take it away from Tesla's control, put it back into your control, and then you can get CHadeMO re-enabled. You can also then get a bunch of other good stuff. That's where I'd spend my money rather than on a Tesla certification. Now, costs for getting it over to New Zealand. Let me just open up the right file. If I was professional here, I'd probably already have this loaded, but I don't, and I'm not. Okay, that's obviously not the one because the folder is empty. Dum dum dum. Okay, here we go, I think. So, it cost me roughly $3.5 grand to get it shipped on a ro-ro ferry, Sydney to Auckland. That included insurance. $114 to go through MPI, which is Ministry of Primary Industries, making sure there's no foreign bugs and nasties on it. $415 for compliance. $530 for an engineer. $195 for rego and registration. So all of that is 4,500 New Zealand, more or less, to bring it here and to get it registered. Now, I can't remember how much the engineer cost me for the repair in Australia. I think that's built into my repair cost, which was rather high at the panel beaters. But there you go. About 4.5 grand are your costs. don't bother with a Tesla cert. Don't take no rubbish if they steal features from you that you paid for or that were sold with the car. You know, it'd be like Ford coming along and stealing your fuel filler hose, or VW coming along and stealing your headlights. You know, it's just not acceptable. Absolutely do it. Do not wreck the car. And enjoy it.